talk about crypto and the market and not specifically trading information, but bigger picture, higher level stuff. Okay. There is a drumbeat happening in the noisemaker section of the market, which is relevant for retail traders and people who believe in voodoo TA. It's also relevant for people who actually understand how the markets really move in terms of real market dynamics and people who actually trade the VEPs and people who invest in crypto. Okay. Right now, there is an assault happening. And that assault is that people with all the money, the high frequency trading firms, the big banks, the central banking authorities like the Fed, European central banks, Asian banks, central banks, and ginormous whales who have hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin, even people who have tens of thousands of Bitcoin, are all assaulting the market. And by assaulting, I mean they're buying as much as possible, as quickly as possible, because they see the inevitable. Could prices drop down before we have significant buy pressure to the upside for an extended period of time? In general, yes. Will there be up and downs along the way, every step of the way, every day? Yes, right? Even on days when we have huge dumps, you often see giant wicks at the bottom of those candles. And that is because you have sell pressure pushing it down and then buy pressure pushing it right back up. Are the targets based on the VEPs? Yes. Are they based on Voodoo TA, which uses price as the information? No, because price is lagging information. Right? The big bots that trade the assets and do most of the trading, they don't use Voodoo TA. And whales and big banks, they all understand volatility to some degree, and they certainly understand probabilities and statistics. And that is what they use to make their decisions to buy and to sell. But the biggest bags, governments and huge financial institutions and banks, they're the ones doing most of the buying, and they do not intend to sell ever. Right? If they ever do sell, they sell tiny, tiny portions of it at premiums if they can, or at least at market rates, but usually at premiums to people willing to pay those premiums to obtain something. And are they going to sell at the bottoms? No, they're not. They're going to sell when it's high. And retail investors are lulled into believing that that's a good time to buy because price is going up, so it must keep going up. Well, price does one thing. If anything, it follows the returns. Price is random most of the time, right? It's either on a random walk or in a trending move. Entropy is how you can tell that. And right now, crypto is massively under assault. And I don't just mean Bitcoin. I mean, aside from Bitcoin, also Ethereum and also other top cryptos are massively under assault. And again, by assault, I mean gobbling up, right? Purchasing control and ownership by the people that already have most of the money on earth. The biggest banks in the world are all buying as much crypto as they can. Right? The biggest central banks on earth are making acquisitions into companies because yes, central banks and the Fed own portions of the stock markets in their countries. Why, you say? Well, because they're not idiots. They're the ones who have the power to print the money for their nations. Governments themselves are making acquisitions, right? Aside from the Fed or the central banks, the actual government is using money in whatever country you live in to buy as much crypto as they can afford to buy so that they can be fully vested into the future of money and finance and financial transactions and values transactions, because they understand that that is the future of the economy and of finance and of money and of treasury and accounting and everything else that goes with it. So when I say crypto is under assault, I mean it is actually urgently under assault. If urgently in the sense of if you are trying to get into the crypto market, good luck. Right now, it is considered relatively low risk by the people who have the most money and they're capable of buying way more than the average retail trader or investor. Does that mean that you can't get any? No, there's still a bunch available. And this is not some red alert to tell you go buy now. Okay, you do whatever you want. Don't follow my advice. I'm not even giving you advice. I'm just telling you what I'm observing in the market. Right? The market is seeing the biggest bags take control of as much as they can of crypto because they know that the future looks very bright for crypto and very bleak for fiat currency. And they do not want to lose power and fortune because they're holding fiat and not holding any crypto. So they're doing everything that they can to get as much crypto as they can with as little risk as possible, which is what they consider it to be now. And yes, I know it sounds crazy that they consider it to be less risky now than when it was 10 cents or $1 or $50 or $100 or $1,000 or even $20,000. But there is technically less risk now. Why? Because all of the people who have all of the bloody money are getting into the market or already are in the market. And no, I'm not talking about your typical millionaire, because your typical millionaire, who has less than $20 million is not considered part of that elite club, right? I'm talking about people who have hundreds of millions or billions or trillions at their disposal. Well, governments have trillions. Certain ones do anyway, right? It is just an observable fact that we are seeing the biggest bags buying more than 100,000 Bitcoin a week. That is not going to last very long. They're going to own all the available Bitcoin within months. And there's the only Bitcoin that'll be available after that are scraps here and there on various exchanges. Okay. Or if people who still hold on to the 30% of Bitcoin that those big whales don't own yet, they'll be starting to sell those off. And you might see, a decent amount, maybe maintaining around 1 million a month available, 1 million or so available. Will probably be closer to 900,000, which is already at right now at any given time. But don't expect that to stay that number for a long time. Expect that number to dwindle down to 500,000 or even less, and possibly even fewer than 100,000 within another couple of years, which may sound insane, but that is the reality of the market forces at the moment. So I highly recommend anybody looking to get into this space to do their own research and to learn why it is that the biggest banks in the world and the biggest moneyed people and governments are buying all this stuff as much as they can. It's urgent in the sense that if you don't know about this now, well, now you do. But if you are interested in being in this market and you don't get into it now, you are very likely to miss the boat within the next year, tops, before this bull run is even over, as they call it, a bull run. It's not a bull run, it's just buy pressure, right? We are likely to see within another year that the market is basically tapped out by the end of this quote-unquote bull cycle, okay? And there's going to be a long and painful series of sell-offs after that is over, whenever it ends, and we start seeing another drop in the market prices of the assets. And don't expect a lot of coin to become suddenly available. Even if people are selling off their meager holdings, what's going to happen is as people start selling off, the people who have all the money are going to buy those things up, right? It's not going to be, if you sell if you, let's say you have a Bitcoin you're willing to sell and you're going to sell it, most of it, if not all of it, is going to be bought by a giant whale or a financial institution or government. Very little of it, if any of it, is going to actually be bought up by retail traders and investors. Those are just statistics. I mean, we can look at that and we can see that very clearly on wallet information and all kinds of other information about what's happening with the acquisition of Bitcoin and other assets. So again, if you are interested in this market, it is really urgent that you learn about it and you make your own decision about it and decide whether or not it's even for you. Maybe it's too late for you in terms of your time horizon, right? Maybe you don't have the risk appetite for this, and in which case you should not enter any market that you don't have the risk appetite for. It is a highly volatile market. It can always go to the upside or the downside, and there's every probability that it will continue to do exactly that, be highly volatile for the coming years. And that is why, if you are interested in this market, you should, before you do anything, learn about it very, very well, and don't make any rash decisions about it. If you're interested in trading, you can learn how to trade for free, how to trade the actual relevant maths that actually move the market. And you do that by going to the Alpha Trading Discord at alphatradinghq.com/discord. And there you can learn how to trade the actual VEPs that are the maths that move the markets. You can learn that for free. You can get free indicators to help you how to trade. They'll help you learn how to trade, and you can get all the educational information you need to learn how to trade. You can tune into the live streams that are Monday through Friday, starting at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. And you too can participate in the trading world, but I do not recommend that for most people. It's really only people who are serious about trading who should learn how to trade and actually be involved in trading. Unfortunately, 99% of the market and more of the retail traders have no clue, and they jump into it anyway, and they're basically degen gamblers. And yes, I'm talking to you because you probably are one of them, unless you happen to be a VEPS trader, in which case, good for you. You have a measurable, quantifiable edge over other retail traders, and that's because they use lagging information and you use leading information, right? So hopefully we'll see you in the live streams again in our Discord, alphatradinghq.com/discord. And most importantly, if this is a market that you are into or that you are interested in, make sure you stay tuned to what is actually the useful big picture real market dynamic information, as well as the nitty gritty of investing and trading. Don't let this slip by you if this is what you're interested in, because again, it is the future of finance and transactions and accounting and everything else. So there you go. That's it for now. Happy trading. Cheers.